it's motion capture. Hello everyone and welcome to an exciting video where I'm going to be using a mocap suit to record some motion capture and bring one of my low poly characters to life in Unreal Engine. And Rokoko reached out to me, they sent me a SmartSuit Pro 2, a pair of smart gloves and a face rig, and I've used that stuff to create this little action sequence. So I've split this video into 4 parts. And first I'm going to show you the result and my poor acting skills and the way I put on a fake accent. And then I'm going to be showing you the recording process that I've already recorded, and I'm going to show you the quick cleanup process that you do before you import it. And then I'm going to bring that stuff into Unreal Engine, and I've actually done that in the past already, but I'm going to recreate that face so you can see exactly what I did and what tweaks I had to do. And at the end of the video, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the Rokoko suit and what my experience was like. But first, let's have a look at the end result and my recording process.
It is 1988 and we are in the city of Ostberg. The state regime inside the city walls watches our every move, and you never know who is an informant. It could be my neighbor Helga. I see her with binoculars sometimes looking at me, and I don't know if it's because of loving my mustache or my flexy shades, yeah, or if she's gonna call the state police on me for making loud noises in the shed, yeah. Most of us around here drive around in these hideous cars. I work in the factory where we make these, so I am qualified to say that they are absolute garbage. There are no robots in the factory. We have to make them using sweat and our muscles and hard work, and we have to bend the pillows into place. I am fortunate to have access to this shed. Here I service some of the local commuter cars, but let me tell you, I make big ideas. Deep inside the shed, behind the fake wall, I make this. Getting the tools and the parts is not easy around here. The tools I borrow from my job at the factory. If I get caught, I am off to jail. The parts I make myself or I found from my underground connection network. It is hard, it is dangerous, very dangerous, but I am willing to risk it all to scrounge for the parts and build my own V8 muscle monster and break out of the city and drive to freedom like a lunatic. I am Hans Flex, and there are more of us here. Become me or one of my like-minded friends, build yourself a crazy muscle car and break out of the city and wave goodbye to the state police.
Alright, so that was a little collage of me recording the sequence, what it looked like in Rokoko Studio, and what the final result looked like when I was playing it back in Unreal Engine. So now I'm going to be showing you the recording process instead. So I've already put the suit on. That takes about 1 to 2 minutes. You basically just slide into it and you zip it up. And then there are some straps just to secure to make sure those sensors are pretty good, like well anchored to those parts of your body. Strap it on and connect it with this provided lead. And now the head rig with the telephone. And it's an iPhone, so it's absolutely useless, the interface. And then we've got to hook up the battery, fully charged, 10,000 milliamps. So we should see the suit pop up now any minute. And we're on the same network. I think we're all good here. And then my head sensor, finally. Got the smart suit is there. Now I'll go to the projects. I'm just going to create a new project and then we'll call it S1. Create, add new scene, scene 1. First thing I'm going to do is add myself as an actor, and then I'm going to drag my smart suit onto there, and then we need the face capture too here. And the face ID won't work because it's my wife's phone. Connect, here we go. And here we go. Need to allow here, and I'll drag this face capture on here too. I think you're all set up now. And then we'll get rid of this chair. That looks a bit funky. So I'm going to calibrate, so right click and calibrate and pose. Okay, calibrated, and now we go. It is 1988 and we are in the city of Ostberg. The state regime inside the city walls watches our every move, and you never know who is an informant. It could be my neighbor Helga. I see her with binoculars sometimes looking at me, and I don't know. So now I've recorded that take. Hopefully it's going to be good enough. I'm going to take it now into the studio and edit it. So what I've been using now to record is the Rokoko SmartSuit Pro 2, and I've got a pair of smart gloves too, and I've got the face rig with an iPhone. And the cleanup process was fairly straightforward. You don't really have to do much. I was expecting to have to do a ton of things, but the only thing I really had to do was to go through the sequence and then create a little changes to the anchoring of the feet to the ground, because this is an inertia suit, so it doesn't necessarily know, or well, it doesn't know when something is touching the ground or holding something. But it does a really good job at estimating it. So it predicts like, okay, the foot is probably planted now. So those predictions were very accurate, I'd say, but I still went in and made some minor tweaks, because then I could say, okay, I can see that I'm lifting my foot here, so I'm going to use this sequencer and just either cut away or adjust this timing a little bit, and that just places and anchors the feet a little bit better. But that's all I really did. And after that, I exported it as an FBX file, and you can have some presets there. And since I was going to bring this into Unreal Engine, I exported it with the UE5 Mani preset, and then that just takes like a standard mannequin in Unreal Engine, and it maps my motion capture onto that character, and it's ready to be imported into Unreal Engine. All right, now let's hop over to the third part of the video where I'm going to take the mocap data and bring it into Unreal Engine. But before I do that, I quickly want to show you in Blender what it looks like when I map my skeleton. So I've got a low poly character-ish, low poly-ish character, because I've added a little bit more polygons to the face than you're used to. And I've modeled this character around the UE5 Mani mannequin. So I exported the mannequin from Unreal Engine as an FBX file. I brought it into Blender, and then I got this really horrible looking skeleton in there. I hate this armature. I hate that the bones are poking in all sorts of weird directions, but I just decided to accept that for now and make it easy for me to map my character to this one. In another video, I'm going to show you how to use AutoRig Pro to get a character mapped and brought into Unreal Engine, because I also tried that approach. But for perfect matching of the animation sequence now, I just wanted to use the mannequin to make it perfect. But it works with the AutoRig Pro version too, but it's just a little bit more optimized if I use this one. So I've weight painted it onto the mannequin, or the UE5 Mani skeleton. And for the face, this I must mention too, because I used AutoRig Pro's feature to do a bone rig for the face. But to get the animations to work optimized in Unreal Engine, you don't really want to have a big face rig on all the characters. So we use shape keys there instead. So this was a learning process for me, but if you look on the right here, we can see that this mesh here has got a whole bunch of shape keys. If I scroll through them, it's actually 52 of them, and it's following a standard called AR Kit, which has 52 animations for the face. And when you do mocap data, you can translate those animations onto these shape keys, and it actually worked pretty good. I was surprised. I was expecting a lot of issues here, but I used this plug, which is called Shape Keygen. I'll put a link in the description here. I bought it for $15 and it worked really well. So when I had my face rigged with a rig, I clicked on this one on the animation tab here, and it generates a whole animation sequence, and then it basically takes those face animations and converts it into shape keys. So if I drag this one, if I scroll down and look at jaw open here, for example, we can see that I don't have this as an animation, it's a face key, or it's a shape key that I can drag, and then we have a mouth closed here, it's already kind of closed, but so you got a whole bunch. And then for blinking, we got up here too, we got like blink, it's behind the shades here. So if I had this one, we can see, okay, I need to actually optimize that a little bit. Maybe I can actually go beyond one. No, I can't. But that could do with some tweaking, but I've just accepted it pretty much as it is now. So this is what I've set up, and I'll create a separate video on how to get this done, because it takes like 10 to 15 minutes to show that part alone. So I'll probably cover that process in a separate video, and let's focus on the mocap stuff now. So then now let's switch over to Unreal Engine, and here's the scene. If I press play, you'll be able to recognize here. We jump into exactly what we saw at the beginning of the video. So the character is standing here and it's night. So the first thing I'm going to do, just to show you, is I'm going to switch over the time of day here to something like this. So we can see, if I press play now, we can see that there's it's the same animation sequence and everything's going on here. So in the scene now, I'm just going to click on the sequence that I already created, and I'm just going to switch off autoplay on that one and pretend that it doesn't exist, and let's do everything back from the start here. I'm going to switch off to my mocap folder, and then I'm going to create a new one here called demo, so I can show you the entire process. And then I'm going to switch over to where I exported the FBX mocap data, and it's this one here. Let's see how big that is. It's 11 megs. So I'm going to take that one and drag it into here. And then the only thing that's really important here is that we're going to see that we're just going to do let's do animation only. And then for skeletal mesh, I'm going to scroll down and make sure I just pick the mannequin here. So, or if I can spell it right. So SK mannequin, this one. And everything else should be pretty good to go. I'll just click import, and there we go. Here it's imported. If I drag this one in now, and we can just see the animation play, and so it's going to pick the mannequin skeleton. And if I press play now, can go here, you can see animation is playing and it's using this skeleton. So it already works really well out of the box using this one. if I actually want to see it too, and here is where we're going to come in where I needed to do a little bit of a cleanup process. But if I click on this one in here, and then I'm going to switch my skeletal mesh here to my Hans mesh. So this one. And when I press play now, we can see we'll have to just run over here again. Here we go. And we can see that everything's working. But keep a look on his eyes now. See that when he didn't actually bring his arm all the way up to the face. And when he does the binocular pose now, we can see that he's actually crossing his arms now and doing it over his chest. So the inertia suit that Rokoko has, or any inertia suit for that matter, doesn't really know where the hands are. So this is one of the limitations. And they actually have a product for that called the Rokoko Coil, which I don't have access to. But that actually fixes the hand positioning. So if you want to solve that without having to do any manual editing, then you can do that with that coil product. But for this one, I'm going to show you how to do it without that coil. So that's, and we can see that the arms were actually going in across the body a little bit there too. So let's switch over. I'm actually going to change my starting position here of the cat so we don't have to scroll all the time. Let's bring this player start over to here so I don't have to just keep jumping around, and then we'll even rotate it. So here we go. Every time I press play now, it'll be a little bit easier. We'll be right in front of this one. So instead of just having dragged this sequence in now, I'm going to take this one away and we're going to create a level sequence instead. So up here at the top, I'm going to go the little drop down and create add a new level sequence. And then I think I've got a folder for that one here somewhere. So there we go, level. And then I'm going to call it sec demo, Hans demo. And that brings us into a new one. And then I can switch to the content browser and I'll make sure I'll find my character here. So Hans, here we go. And the latest one that I've been using is this one, Hans Mani2. And I'm gonna click him and drag him into the sequencer and just drop him into here. And he'll be over here somewhere. Where is he? There we go. And let's bring him back here to where we're operating. So now he's in view, but there is no animation play now. And actually I should also do that. This one's automatically playing here. So if I scroll, make a little bit room here. Actually, I'll find the sequence here. So demo, this is one that we'll be working on. And I'm just going to autoplay it and loop indefinitely too. So when I press play now, we haven't imported the mocap data now. So it's just taking the sequence and it's actually playing it. So now I have to go to animation and click on the little plus icon and we'll just pick the mocap data. And when I bring this one in, I can double click on this one and I'll have to make sure that I switch this one so we cover the entire sequence. So I've got my Hans Mani character here now, and I've linked this animation to it. So now when we press play, we can see, and we're getting the double one because I've got the sequencer open here, but everything's working here. We've got the animation. So pretty much all we need to do now is fix the arm. So I'm going to click on the plus up here on Hans Mani2, and I'm going to go down to control rig, and then I'm going to click layered, and then I'm going to click here on this FK control rig. So this is for forward kinematics. And if I change the control speed here a little bit, now I can expand this one, the layered one, and we can start to make some tweaks. And I noticed that maybe it's the shoulders that I need to tweak a little bit. So if I select one of these bones now, I can rotate these pretty easily, like this. Let's rotate that one up a little bit. And then I'm going to insert a keyframe too. So I'm going to press on this little clavicle, just plus here, add a keyframe. And on this one, I'm going to add this one up here and then just raise my shoulders a little bit and add a keyframe there. So now I'm going to press play again, and then let's head over forward to where I'm actually holding the first thing that we're going to notice. In most part, it doesn't really matter that much, but this one, I want the arm to be all the way up by the head here. So to do that one, I'm in a pretty good spot here. So I'm going to put, just before I put the arm up there, and we're operating with the right arm. So for this one, I'm going to add a keyframe, and then I'm going to click on this arm. I'm probably going to tweak too. So I'm going to add a keyframe for the upper arm R, and probably one for here. The lower arm. Let's get a whole bunch of control keyframes here, that one, and we'll even do the hand, I think, to get that one perfected as an example. So I'll click on the hand and add a keyframe here at the current time. Then I'm going to scroll forward, and here I want to have this tweak in place by now. So now I'm going to click, and I have to do, if I try to do this one now, you can see that it's rotating the whole body, and that's because if I press Ctrl Z, it's because I've got the body selected too. So you have to just click away to, how do you deselect? Shift or Control click something? There we go. Now just click on this bone and I'll bring this one up. I'm going to switch off snapping to rotational. Grab this one and then we'll bring the arm up a little bit to there and then bring it up and then back. Maybe we didn't need too much for the hand, but we can do that as an example too. So now I'm going to add a keyframe on this one, on the upper arm. And then for the hand, let's just bring that down a little bit. There we go. And rotate it here. Perfect. And then I'll add a keyframe here too. So now when we scrub through this one, we can see that everything's looking, we don't exactly remember what it was before, but here, when we come now, there we go. The arm is in the right place now. So that's how quickly you can fix these issues with a forward kinematic rig. And then after this one, it might be totally offset everything now. So I just switch it back. So I'm going to copy these keyframes. If I zoom in a little bit, and if I can operate this, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to scrub through, and where I'm done with the arm to there. And it actually still looks pretty good, but I'm still going to bring it back. So Control C, Control V, and then we'll bring all of these back. Control C, Control V here again. So that's actually going to take away that correction. And we can spread that over a little bit more time here. So there we go. And that gradually just fades back now into without that correction. And same, I think the binocular will do that one. Here we can see obviously that it's totally wrong. It looks like I'm doing some gang sign or something instead. So we'll do the same thing here. And here we have to do it for both arms. And we'll go to before you need to do the correction here. And then we'll just have to, I think I'll multi-select multiple ones instead. So I'll go for that one, this one. This one we'll need to correct, probably this one, and this one, and this one. We'll just do all of them. So, and the hand too. Did I select the hand? Yeah. And then now we'll just do, how do I add keyframes for all of these? Right click. How do I add a keyframe for selected? All right, that's a problem for later. Put it in the comments if you know how to do it. I'm just gonna manually click them for now. I'm sure there's a way to do that automated. There we go. And now, okay, I missed one. This one I didn't want to. Metacarpal. What have I selected? Okay, we don't want to do that one. Didn't even know what. Now I know what metacarpal means apparently. Hand R. Here we go. That one's already selected. All right, now, and let's scrub forward. Here's the post that we wanted to correct. So now I'm going to just rotate these into place. We'll go, actually, I'll go a little bit further. Here we go. There. And bring this one up. Bring it out. Correct the shoulder. Okay, now I did that thing that I always do, which is actually accidentally click the body too. And I haven't baked this to a control rig. That's why I'm not using IK at the moment. And I think for these type of corrections, I actually found it easier to use forward kinematics anyway. Because you just basically correct the rotation and it applies to everything after that. You don't have to, otherwise you might lock the hand or something to somewhere where you don't want it to be. So I'm gonna bring this one up to, oh yeah, binoculars, that's what we're gonna try to do. So I just need to twist this one into place. Grab this one, not that one. I always keep clicking the body instead. Maybe we'll rotate the hand or the, yep, there we go. So that's for the first binocular part. There we go. And then I'm just gonna add keyframes for these. Okay. All right, and here's the thing. Apparently, click on adding the keyframes when you've changed them one at a time. Otherwise, it'll snap back. So lesson learned. We'll bring this one, add a keyframe for the lower arm. That's probably a better workflow anyway. So rotate that one. Keyframe, and then just bring the hand down. I think I did it better first time, but never mind. There we go. So that's for that hand. We go, whoop, that's corrected. Yeah, and then we'll do it for the other hand too. So around the same time here, grab this bone, rotate it up somehow. That looked so weird. And then add a keyframe, and then just rotate the hand down a little bit. So something like that. Don't have to be too detailed now. So now when I scrub through, you can see, whoop, the hands are pretty okay there. I probably need to correct them a little bit more even here. So we'll do that on, add a keyframe. And then this I need to practice a little bit more, but it's actually working pretty good. So there, keyframe. So now we're correcting it twice there, and then we'll bring it down. And now the arms are a little bit off again, so I'm just gonna grab those all of those keyframes again. I'm actually gonna make myself a bit more room here. And then copy these ones, Control C, Control V. Here will take away the correction. And I think we had some up here too. Controls, oh. Control C on these, Control V, and then Control C on these, and then over here we'll take away the correction. So I think that's pretty much it. Let's look at it one more time. Press play. So that'll do for the binocular pose, and I can see if I scrub through here, we can see that the arms are going a little bit close to the body. So I think when I did it last time, I think I just corrected my clavicles a little bit more permanently, like this maybe, for the entire sequence. So let's add this one and then take that keyframe away, and I'll do the same for this one. Grab that one, bring it up a little bit, and maybe rotate it out a bit like this. I think this is something what I did, and bring it forward, and then I'm just going to add a keyframe there and take this one away. Now when we play through, we can see that my arms are not really going across my body anymore. And here's another example. When I did my previous correction, these actually didn't overlap. So once you're done, you can just scrub through your entire process and see, like if I bring this arm out a little bit, let's bring actually this one instead, bring it out to there, and then add a keyframe there. And bring it out, maybe there. So now when we scroll through, we can see, yeah, works. All right, so that pretty much summarizes what I had to do to the mocap data to get it to play nicely in Unreal Engine, just using an FK rig and doing some animation tweaks to get the hands into the correct places where that was important. And what I did for the final render was that I added his speech too and some camera movement. And just so you know how I did that one, in the content browser, I had this welcome speech thing here. I'm gonna bring this one and drag it into the sequencer. I just dropped it in here. I think I dropped it on him even. And click yes on this one. And then I had to synchronize it because I imported it over here now. So I'll just roughly synchronize it. And the face capture doesn't record the audio separately. So I had to use a little DJI mic that I had clipped onto my body, and I recorded that separately. So it captures the face animations, but I wanted the audio to be synchronized. So I actually recorded that at the same time, but you have to use a separate microphone for that one. The face capture app does not do that. So now if I press play, we should get a little bit synced here.
It is 1988 and we are in the city of Ostberg. The state regime inside the city walls watches our every move, and you never know who is in informant. It could be my neighbor Helga.
So after I synchronized that one, if I press play now and I run away somewhere all the way over here, you can see that the volume is still the same. So the final thing I did for the character speaking there is I right-clicked on it and I clicked on Edit Selection, and then I dropped down here over Override Attenuation, and then I had created just a sound attenuation asset where you can control the fall off. So I switched it to logarithmic fall off. And then once I did that one and press play, now if I run away from the character, like it'll get louder when I'm closer. And then if I go away, the volume will drop a little bit into the distance there. So after the audio, the final thing that I did is I added a cinematic camera. And once you've done this one, you get a little bit more cool control over the focal range and stuff. So I added a cine camera actor that I'm piloting now. And then I keyframe this one. So at the beginning here, for example, if I go here, I'm just going to keyframe. If I scroll down, keyframe the transform. And then as I scrub a little bit, maybe I move the camera over here, something like that. And then I put a keyframe onto my camera transform somewhere there. There we go. So that starts the camera pan. And you can see that the focus is off now. So what I just control the focal distance too. So here, and there's a little cool helper thing that you can enable here. If you find that a little bit difficult, if I click on this one, you can enable this debug draw focus plane. And now, oh yeah, it's probably because it's too far away. So now when I slide it, we can put the focus around his eyes there. Then I will animate this one. Focal distance. And then as I scrub through to here, I'm just going to change the focal distance to, again, a bit roughly with his eyes. You can lock it to actors too in the world, but I did want to control this one manually. But I'll lock it there, and then I'll disable the drawing. So now we'll have camera animation, and we have also the focal length is animating over time here too. All right, so that summarizes the process of recording some mocap data, cleaning it up briefly, and then bringing it into Unreal Engine to get one of your characters to come to life. I'm excited to learn this a lot more now, because I can use the mocap stuff now to get either pretty lengthy cutscenes like this one, up to 2 minutes, that seem to be working. And it's going to be an excellent tool to start to get some new foundational animation keyframes for different attack sequences, or maybe some walking or basic interaction stuff. So I just have to do some stretching now and get back into my previous shape, because then I could maybe even throw some kicks. That would be kind of fun. So come back for more videos on this topic. And finally, I'm going to share my thoughts on the Rokoko suit because, and of course this is a sponsored video, so I'm going to say it's great, but the thing is that it is great. That's the fun part, because I was a little bit scared when I looked at that videos before. They're about 2 to 3 years old, and they were showing a whole heap of issues that people ran into to get it to run, and it didn't really record. And I even tried to live stream my capture data from Rokoko Studio into Unreal Engine, and that worked really good in a live stream environment. I could stream it to the Manny character inside of Unreal Engine. And luckily enough, the suit has come a long way, and so has the capabilities of Unreal Engine with the live link, and all the software is starting to play a little bit nicely now. So I'm actually really excited about this. So sure, it has some limitations. With the inertia suit, it doesn't know the exact positioning of the limbs, and I think that's the major drawback. But luckily enough, if you have the funds, there is the Rokoko coil that actually is being launched to combat that problem. So now you can get some spatial awareness for your hands. So I think that's one of the key things. Also, if you're gonna do really long sequences, then the suit might drift a little bit out of sync. So I had to do calibration before I did each recording of the take, and if you forget that one, you can get all sorts of weird funky movements of your arms. But I think it's pretty rare that you do lengthy recordings like I did now. That was a 2-minute recording. So for a lot of the data that you might need for a game, maybe it's different attack or defend positions or just basic interactions or idle poses, it's absolutely fantastic for that. And the finger movements with the gloves as well, I'm really excited about. So I'm excited to use this suit now for a lot more purposes, and I'm going to be creating more videos as I learn it, because this was my first stab at it. I hadn't really used it before, so after I got the firmware installed, I've got it updated and synchronized and running onto my network. And I know that they say that it has to be really picky about a router that's right next to you for everything to work, but I'm actually operating with a Wi-Fi router that's a couple of rooms down the road. So I think to get even better precision on the data, I might actually follow that advice and use that one too. Also keep in mind that the power bank doesn't come with it, so I had to buy a separate power bank. That's I got it for $25 or something. I got a 10,000 milliamp, but the important thing there is that it needs to be able to provide 3 amps of power. But a lot of them do it these days, so once you've got that one and plugged in, that's all good to go. They don't ship that one because it makes it tricky to do shipping with restrictions, so it's easier for them to just sell the suit, and they can focus on that part of the process instead. So it's a quick thing to just get a power pack yourself. It's very convenient. So I'm really excited about this suit, that's the bottom line, and I'm really excited to make more videos about using this one and getting my workflow down so I can create new cool animations for my video games, and hopefully share a lot more with you here on this channel too. So if you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up, and consider subscribing if you haven't already, and then have a look at the Rokoko suit too if this is something that interests you. And I'll see you in a video again shortly. Until next time, have a great one, and bye for now.